What's up, guys? You guys requested that I pick up the Z Flip 7. I typically don't pick up the folding phones usually, but let's go ahead and check it out. I thought I would, check it out this year. And here's the phone here, and this is the black version. And we get the typical stuff that we always get. We get our SIM ejection and Type-C to Type-C cable. So really nothing special here in the box. And here's the phone itself. Now, what's pretty interesting about this model here is that the screen on the outer screen is an all screen now. Let's get that off. Yeah, so very nice, very firm too. The crease has, I think the last Z Flip we looked at was maybe the 4 or the 5, one of those, but the crease, you can't even really see it now. It's like almost virtually gone. You can't really feel it that much either. So wow, they made a pretty dramatic jump with this crease. So it is IP48 dust and water resistant. So very interesting. You do have an aluminum frame on here as well, and it's pretty thin. As we're all set up here, let's just jump into the screens here. Let's start with the cover screen. It is a pretty much all screen design. It's a very cool, looking phone here. So it is a 4.1 inch Super AMOLED display. It's 120 Hertz. The specs say 2600 nits peak brightness, and it's 948 by 1048. This is Gorilla Glass Victus here. Very cool. We have our widget set up, and if you install Multi-Star on here, we can actually get pretty much everything to run from here. So the default applications are the applications you see here: Maps, Messages, Netflix, and it runs like a normal app. These are applications that are compatible, but like I said, you can install Multi-Star and you can run more applications. So it's pretty cool. So you can use the cover screen basically like a little mini phone. It is very nice. The resolution is pretty sharp on here as well. And yeah, it's a very pretty screen. Now the screen right here, it is a 6.9 inch display. It's a very tall phone, so you kind of have to reach. So it's not really a one-handed phone when it's open because of just how tall it is. At least for me, you got smaller hands, and it's gonna but it's not really a big deal because you can turn it into like a little mini phone, right? But yeah, so it's dynamic LTPO display. It is HDR10 plus. It is 2600 nits peak brightness. Again, we have a decent screen to body ratio, around 89% screen to body ratio, and yeah, it looks pretty good. 397 for the PPI, so text and everything looks great. Everything is also very colorful as well, as we know. And I didn't even turn the vividness slider up. You turn the vividness slider up on here, you can kind of get close to what the older Samsung panels used to look like here. If I could, yeah, turn vividness up, and then we kind of get that old school kind of Samsung look. And yeah, the display is awesome on here. I actually like it, and the cover display is pretty cool as well. So I might do another video on my other channel, just doing some tips and stuff like that. But yeah, the screen is very nice on here. My first impressions of it. Check out the specs. We have Android 16 out of the box here, and it's been running pretty smooth. So this One UI 8 is running great. You have 7-year pledge on here, so that's pretty nice. Now, a lot of people, you may or may not like this, but Samsung did opt for the Exynos processor. So it's Exynos 2500, and then we also have 256 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM, and that is the base model here. So we get pretty good scores. I've had pretty good experience with Exynos processors this year, and we can see here's our Wildlife Extreme test. We're getting 2958, and then we're averaging 19 to 39. And I would say the overall general speed of this phone is pretty good. I mean, I don't really see a difference. I would have to, do some speed tests to see can we really notice a difference between this and the Snapdragon version when it comes to real world tests. But I mean, it looks perfectly smooth and fine running this One UI, One UI 8. So we just have to do some more tests here, but let's hop into PUBG and see what we get here. Alright, so it looks like our settings for PUBG is going to be 90 frames. So I didn't expect this to run at 120 frames. If this was a Snapdragon processor, you'd be able to run it at 120 frames. Now I'm sure for just casual gaming, this is perfectly fine, right? It's gonna play whatever you throw at it, Genshin, Call of Duty, emulators, just fine. But like I said, if you're more of a mobile gamer, you're not buying this phone anyway. So this is for people who want the flip and the compact screen. So I would say it's not that big of a deal, guys, because it doesn't run. It's not going to run the games, or the Exynos is just not as well optimized. Developers they just don't optimize it as well for the titles like they do the Snapdragon. But I mean, if you do want to get some gaming done on the flip, I mean, it's perfectly fine. So it's not, like I said, it's not a big deal. This phone doesn't feel like it's heating up or anything like that since I've had it. And yeah, so I think it's perfectly fine as far as casual gaming, getting some gaming in, and then also I think general performance to me so far feels just like an S25 Ultra for the most part. So yeah, so if you're worried about a Exynos processor, I'm gonna spend a little bit more time with it, of course, but I don't think there's anything to really worry about here. All right, let's talk about the cameras here. And also, I didn't mention the fingerprint scanner. It is a physical fingerprint scanner, and it works really well. I really like the physical ones in the button. They just feel a lot more natural to me than the under the display fingerprint ones. But yeah, the cameras on here. So we have a 50 megapixel camera set up, and then we also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. Where this would differ from an S25 Ultra or something like that is it lacks a telephoto lens. So that means your zoom shots won't be that great, and then your zoom is kind of limited. As far as just photo quality here, it's been pretty good so far. It also shoots in 4K 60, and you have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. You can also use that that main lens here as a as a little selfie thing, right? So you can get a higher quality shot like that. But yeah, so I think photo quality is pretty good on the flip so far. Pretty good dynamic range. The ultra wide is pretty consistent with the main lens. We're getting pretty good color on here as well. Very accurate to real life. And so far I don't have an issue. Yeah, you're gonna see kind of decrease in quality when it comes to zoom shots, but my first impressions of the cameras are pretty good. The video is also pretty solid on the Flip 7 here. So I think so far I think the photo quality is pretty good. Check out these speakers at max volume. Speaker quality is actually pretty good. I was actually kind of surprised by that. There's a pretty good bass quality and the sound is pretty balanced. I mean, that's pretty good. This is a big step up from like I can't remember, it might have been the Flip 4 or something like that. The bass and just the overall sound quality sounds pretty good. So that's pretty nice. Also, one thing I noticed from last time, and I don't know if this is on the previous model, but Samsung desktop support is here, or wireless desktop support is here now. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there last time, so that's nice that they brought that over here. And yeah, so far spent a little bit more time with the battery life. That is one thing that I'm curious about. It's a 4300 milliamp hour battery, so it's pretty small. And then we also have 25 watt charging and wireless and reverse wireless charging. But just because it's small doesn't mean that the battery life is going to be bad. It really comes down to this Exynos processor and if we can get a full day out, how efficient it is. So yeah, so I think so far, I mean, I really like the phone, guys. It actually took me by surprise. I think this is a pretty cool phone. My first impressions, I love that they really worked on this crease so you can barely see it. The full screen design really sells you on like using it as a little mini phone. Like I said, with multi-star, we can actually take advantage of more applications like this. So I think the cover screen is very cool now. So yeah, what do you guys think of the Flip 7? Be sure to let me know.